Hello and welcome back to Great Britain. Last time, well, a lot of interesting things happened really. We have to deal with that, and no, we definitely have to deal with those guys first though. Anyways, as you can see that there's currently some people trying to take Venice. I do not approve of that. Anyways, that was not what I was supposed to go on about. Last time we did a little bit of conquest really, just a tiny little bit. Depends if these guys can actually get there in time. We might have a slight issue here with these guys. We might actually lose Istria before we manage to annex them. But we'll see. As I was saying, last time we ended up doing a little bit of conquest in India. We also annexed Shimazu and currently fabricating claims in Japan. And we'll probably just continue on that same note. We're going to continue conquest in India. We might actually fight Austria. I do have alliances with the Ottomans and the Russians now, thanks to them deciding that, well, I was a worthy ally. So I'm happy about that, but not really much I can do at the moment. So we'll continue our war against Nepal and Hindustan, but other than that, we'll also hopefully be able to get rid of the rebels that are currently in Venice. We'll see how it plays out. For now, again, I'll just focus on sieging and fighting in this area, and hopefully I can I can make something work. We'll see how it goes. The war with Nepal and Hindustan is taking far longer than I expected. We also had some rebel issues that have cost me quite a bit of manpower, but all in all things are going better. What I have decided to do though in response to this is more or less just take the Meva, or Malva and Hadoti provinces off the hands of, well, the ones that should have them. And the problem is I can't actually take the 5 provinces that I'm currently fighting for without breaking the overextension roof, but that doesn't really matter too much. Also, of course, military power is an issue, but I can of course use just harsh treatment, but again, I don't really see a good reason to do that. It costs far too much military power to, at least for me, make viable. With my manpower gains, it's not really that much of an issue anyways, so I can live with that. But what we will be doing is the 20,000 man army that was used to fight Venice here. We are going to send the better half of that to India again, needing more troops there due to the sheer amount of revolts. We also have a secondary problem that I need to take into account with the Conqueror spree that we're currently doing on the Indian provinces. We end up in a position where we might get religious turmoil issues, more or less, and that is really worrisome. So again, depending on how it looks once I actually conquered everything that I can here, depending on how should I put this, depending on if I need more admin points or not. Mind you that we do have a heir that has a pretty high admin stat. So I have to consider whether or not it's a good idea to go for well, religious ideas rather than admin ideas that I wanted to have in the beginning, because the simple fact that it will allow me to convert the lands a lot faster. But I'll have to consider that once I actually end up in that, or at that time, because as you can see, religious unity is going down rather rapidly due to the fact that it takes me forever to convert any of these provinces, more or less. We're also going to take a step of admin tech here. Land clearance level 21. Production efficiency increased by 10%, which is good. We're waiting 12 years though. We have 12 years more or less to decide whether or not we want to go for or what idea we want to go for, more or less. But for now, I'll allow the war here to end. We're going to take these 2 provinces before we end the war with Hindustan, and we're probably going to be able to core them as well. We'll have to see what we actually end up with. The creation of the Bank of England. The Bank of England was founded in 1694. It soon enjoyed a reputation of seriousness and reliability, in particular regarding the credibility of the English pound sterling. In a time when most other currencies were at the mercy of state bankruptcies and coinage debasement, this stability was preponderant in the slowly but constantly increasing domination of the world economy by Great Britain in the 18th and 19th centuries. It also allowed the greater flexibility to the British government in raising funds for warfare. So I lose some inflation. I don't think I had that much to begin with. Nope, I didn't. So it didn't really make too much of a difference, but good to have nonetheless. As you can see here, rebels. Kind of powerful, but hilarious enough, this unit here works quite powerful even without support penalty battle. I believe there's actually a discussion currently going on the forums whether or not they actually messed up this. Now that's an interesting one. As you can see here, Venice is actually conquering lands in Shan. I'm a little confused, but not much I can do about that. Anyways, as I was saying here, there's currently going a discussion on the Paradox forums whether or not the cavalry right now is overpowered, and it might actually look like it is, since even with the minus 50%, they are better at fighting the rebels than my regular units, which is a little bit surprising and, as I said, a little bit worrisome. But not too much I can do about that right now. I'll just have to live with it and hope that they fix it sooner rather than later. But for the time being, we'll just continue with our conquests here. We'll probably conquer the entirety of north of or south of Hindustan before we end up in a peace setting here, because I do need to get every single one of these cores done. So it will be at least 3 more years, or 2.5, before we put ourselves in a situation where the war can actually be ended. I also forgot to actually create the Venetian fleet, so that is kind of what I'm doing right now, and hopefully it will work out like I intended to. But I'll do some more sieging, and hopefully I'll be getting my my goals here. See how that plays out. And I have no interest in Shan whatsoever, so we'll accept the suggestion here. I'll also, I think, allow the other 2 armies here to more or less just rest and deal with rebels. As you can see, things are going pretty well here. We have more or less taken what we want from Hindustan. The only issue, of course, is the call for peace, which to some degree can actually be a good thing. If I can bring this up to approximately 2 and then make peace, it will be a little bit easier to buy myself those cores. And we'll also most likely get them, by the time we actually get up to coring everything. So, all in all, it will probably work to our advantage. I have to commend both the Danes and the Venetians for their, well, effort, I guess. And Oud has actually broken free, which is kind of interesting, because that gives us another target to fabricate claims on, which is hilarious. We also have helped quite a bit of rebels here, which is, as far as I can say, pretty damn good too. So, again, I'll wait until the coring process is done. I'll keep an eye on my war exhaustion, and hopefully, as I said here, I can make something work. We'll see how it plays out. We are more or less now perfectly set up, or we were, to some degree. I am going to reduce now. I missed by a day, which is unfortunate, but not impossible to deal with. The core here, as you know, is, well, it's going to take a little while before it's done, but I can go with that over... Go a little bit over time, I guess. We're going to take these 4 provinces here. As you can see, adding this one will actually give me more than 100 overextension, which I do not like. So we're taking these 4, and then I guess we'll actually declare war on, I think we want to declare war on Japan, since the claims here are starting to get kind of old. So we're probably going to declare war on Japan, and I'm also going to fetch one of the 20k armies that are actually, well, over here right now, in an effort to, well, help the war there, which should be probably perfectly alright. I don't need a good military advisor, since we do have a ton of military power. I should probably go ahead here and see if there's any military edicts that I'd like to take. I kind of forget about, or policies, I kind of forget about these. Siege ability could actually be quite useful. Regiment costs. Guess we'll go with the sappers, and we're going to sap them all. Yeah, we'll go with that. I think that could actually be a little bit useful right now, since it's basically... I basically don't have anything else to use military power on, so I can live with going for the sappers. But I believe we did send a truce demand, didn't we? Peace demands? No, we didn't, so we'll send them right now. And with that, we now have solved our problems. Did get over aggressive, no, not overextension, or aggressive expansion, but war exhaustion, that's the name of it. My bad, my apologies. And I think, as I said here, we'll probably go after Japan, and then we're going to deal with Baluchistan and Delhi. But before we declare war, I'll get my troops into the area, and then we'll go for it. I was about to say I'm sure that the Russians will join, but I don't really care because it's a distant war, even though, yeah, very close in reality. But I'll go ahead. We'll be going for these 3 provinces here, potentially this one too, if I manage to pull that off with, well, fleet and things like that. I might have to send a frigate fleet over here, but it should be fine. We'll see how it goes. I'll get my troops over there and then we'll declare war. Military attack 22 has been reached. They can't reach. With that, we get an increase in combat with by 2. Cavalry fire by 0.5. Artillery fire by 2. Artillery shock by 0.10. And we can now use cohorn mortars. So we'll just upgrade right away. I think also that my mercenary squad here has more or less reached its end. We are going to most likely just disband that. Once we actually get some new troops over here, but right now we are running quite a deficit, partly due to the fact that my trade income suddenly dropped by 30 ducats, and I have no idea why, because the only thing I really did was send a fleet to Venetia, so I have no idea why it happened. It just happened, but not much I really can do about that. We'll just have to live with it more or less. What we are going to do instead, though, is declare war on Japan, because it's fun. We're going to go with take Bungo, I think. No, we're going with show superiority. We are going to be winning most of the battles, so I don't really see a problem by going with that. And also, of course, we have now a ton of rebels, because who doesn't like them? No, really, who doesn't? Anyway, the main concern that I have right now is, again, these rebels are pretty damn tough. Unless I have a 3-to-1 advantage in numbers, I lose a ton of people. As you can see here, I have clearly the advantage here. The only issue is the crossing modifier. My general is far superior, and yet I'm losing more troops than they do. This doesn't make any sense at all. Of course, it could be simply due to the fact that, hey, you're running a too much cavalry, but it wouldn't make too much sense that either. It's just too annoying. So there's, of course, a couple of problems that my country is currently facing: the legitimacy issue, and also, of course, the well, this thing, but it's kind of what I have to do if I want to take India and Japan before we run out of time. So I'll continue fighting both Japan and also the potential issue that is, well, in this case, both money and also overextension and rebels. But yeah, I'll just continue fighting it and we'll see how it plays out. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. We'll see how it goes. As you can see, the Japanese army were defeated, but again, we're suffering far more losses than I like, and I can't really find a good explanation for the amount of losses that we're actually suffering. But I can't do anything about it right now. Religious unity is again going down, so I think once we actually get to the point where we can take that next idea, it is most likely going to have to... it's really going to have to be the very well pay them off. Again, this is kind of the things that are screwing me over. I guess in this case I might actually have to just ignore them. Again, lose some revolt risk here, and potentially screw myself over. Is there a... Yeah, we'll have to go for this guy if I am to pull this off. We'll have to ignore them for the time being, I think. And I think we'll also go down on colonial maintenance. Just put the growth at 0 for the time being. We'll go a little bit down on the army maintenance, save up a little bit of money, and in this case we'll actually pay them off, and we'll take a pair of loans. Again, this is not good by any means. As you can see, I'm losing quite a bit of money now in just rent, so I have to live with that. But I'm pretty sure we should be able to win here, even with the well, minor numbers. And I guess I should kind of slow down the colonial aspect until I get my trade back up and running again. I have no idea what actually happened, but it's not a good thing. At least now the colony incognita here is done, so I can at least use that to my advantage. And I can now actually go back up on this, and probably this too. Yeah, it's actually colonial things that have been screwing me over now. So we'll calm down a little bit on the colonial aspect. We'll save up money. We might actually just extort Japan here. I'm pretty sure they have quite a bit, but we'll see how it goes. For now, we'll allow everything to run its course. We'll wait for the course to finish, and then I guess we'll make a peace deal with Japan for probably 2, 3, 5, probably 4 colonies. colonies, 4 provinces. We'll see what I actually end up at. Well, this one is a little bit annoying. Too many cowards. Our increasing focus on offensive doctrine has made it harder to find brave peasants to fill the ranks. Ridiculous complaints about being cannon fodder are frequently spattered to our recruitment officers. The fools are missing out on the glory. Well, to some degree they are. To some degree they are actually right, especially if you consider the losses that we're suffering in battle. But we'll just have to deal with that one way or another. There's not really much else to do. I'm going to use this army here to hunt down the Japanese army, and hopefully, once I do, we will be able to make everything work out here. We'll just have to see, more or less. And as I said, I'll finish the war, and once we are done with this, I'll get back to you, I guess. I can actually get everything that I want right now. So we are just going to go back. We're going to protect our holdings, and we're going to wait for the course to be completed, and then we'll go for, I guess, conquering some of Japan. With that said, however, we'll do that next time. We are doing fairly well in India. We will be doing good in Japan too, I think. But rebels are definitely the major nuisance right now. We'll just have to deal with that as we go. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment, praise, criticism, anything you feel like, and hopefully I'll see you around next time. Bye.